therapist, Kristen Jacobson.
Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the anxiety therapist, and today I want to take a deep dive into the intricate landscape of anger and its nuanced role as a secondary emotion. But before I do, I want to share a little anecdote from my own life that actually happened just this morning, so this seems like a very timely podcast episode. So basically, I was supposed to be a guest on a podcast this morning and showed up right on time, joined the Google Meet, and 5 minutes went by, 10 minutes went by, and the other guy didn't show. So I found myself getting really angry. And when I took some time to reflect on what was going on sort of underneath the surface of that anger, I realized that I was feeling angry because I was ultimately feeling disrespected. I felt like he was disrespecting my time by not showing up and not communicating that to me. Time is my most precious commodity, so I'm very protective of it. And so when somebody disrespects my time, it creates these feelings of being disrespected and in turn feeling angry. Not to mention the fact that my dog was barking to go outside to go to the bathroom, and our smoke alarm was out of batteries, so that was beeping in the background. So it was sort of like a trifecta of things. But that said, we all experience anger sometimes. It's a very normal emotion, but it often plays a role far more complex than sort of what meets the eye. So if you picture it as an iceberg, what we see on the surface is just the tip of a much larger emotional structure hidden underneath the water. So think about like 10% that we see above the water represents anger, and then there's 90% underneath the water that involves more vulnerable emotions. So let's talk about the intriguing comfort of anger. Why is anger such a prevalent emotion? Anger possesses a certain allure because it's energizing, intimidating, and protective. So it acts as this sort of emotional bodyguard that stands vigilant when more vulnerable emotions threaten to emerge. So it's sort of akin to putting on a superhero costume, this bold front when we feel exposed or under siege. So let's unmask anger's secondary nature. In my extensive experience as a therapist, I've observed that anger often serves as sort of a decoy emotion. So when people are confronted with feelings of hurt, fear, sadness, etc., anger swoops in like this valiant protector, masking the more delicate and nuanced emotions lying beneath the surface. So it really becomes this sort of shield, maintaining a comfortable distance from our inner vulnerabilities and creating distance between other people, because anger can be seen as a very sort of intimidating, off-putting emotion. So let's delve into the layers of the anger iceberg. I see this a lot in my work with men who will come to therapy because they claim they have anger issues. But when we start kind of talking through things, we really see that there's a lot going on underneath that is much more vulnerable, that is uncomfortable for them to acknowledge. And a lot of that is, from these societal messages that men are supposed to be strong and stoic and not show vulnerability, or if they do, that's perceived as weakness, all of this messaging that goes on. So a lot of times these more vulnerable emotions just sort of fester internally, and then they come out as anger. So let's explore the concept of the anger iceberg more comprehensively. And again, we want to imagine anger as the visible tip, but that concealed beneath are the layers of emotions that are really just waiting and wanting to be acknowledged and understood. So number one is hurt and betrayal. So beneath the surface of anger often lies this deep ache of being hurt or betrayed. And so expressing anger becomes a defense mechanism, sort of a way to deflect from the vulnerability of acknowledging those emotional wounds. Second is fear and insecurity. Anger can act as a robust defense against our deepest fears and insecurities, and it becomes a tool for projecting strength when we really truly feel most fragile and exposed. Third is sadness and grief. So Unresolved sadness or grief can manifest as anger. It's a coping mechanism, a way of avoiding the pain that comes with acknowledging loss and the associated emotions. And anger is also one of the 5 stages of grief. And then another one that I see a lot is a cover for disappointment. Disappointment, for some reason, is one of those emotions that is so difficult for people to cope with. And I see this over and over again in all the years I've been working as a therapist, that there's a pattern with this emotion in particular. And so a lot of times, if we're feeling disappointed about something, that could come out as anger or frustration or irritability as well. So how do we navigate this intricate emotional labyrinth? The key really lies in cultivating self-awareness. So recognizing anger as a signal rather than this final destination, we sort of open ourselves up to a journey of exploration and understanding. So it's really an invitation to dive into the sea of more vulnerable emotions, acknowledging and embracing the myriad of feelings that reside within us. So in conclusion, in the complex tapestry of human emotions, anger serves as both a guardian and a veil. And understanding its secondary nature really allows us to peel back the layers, revealing the authentic feelings beneath. So the next time anger surfaces, consider it an opportunity to explore the depths of your emotional landscape and really gain a richer, more profound understanding of yourself. And remember, emotions are a language, right? They're a way of communicating, and each one has its own story to tell. So until our paths cross again, take the time to explore those emotions, and should you need a guide in this intricate journey, please don't hesitate to reach out. I also have a lot of free resources on my website, and you can sign up for my email list there. So head on over to catharticspacecounseling.com, and I'll talk to you guys soon.